Russia has sent Iran 140 million euros in cash in exchange for kamikaze drones. The British media Sky News reports. Foreign Affairs Minister of Iran admitted for the first time that the country provided Russia with kamikaze drones only on November 5th, but he insists that this was done before Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine. The Kremlin has allegedly handed over to Tehran the captured weapons of Ukraine's partners, the British NLAW missile system and American Javelin weapon system, and Stinger missiles too. They need it in order to make knockoffs of them, study the technology, and if it is possible, create the same. Iran has set itself up because of this. Now everyone will disassemble its equipment and look for sources where Iran supplied the element base for these weapons from and slap those who did it on their wrist. Iran has announced its first hypersonic ballistic missile project. This statement was made immediately after the United States expressed concern that Russia would also buy surface-to-surface missiles from Iran for the war in Ukraine. Iran is ready to help the Russian Federation not only with weapons. The Politico publication, citing anonymous sources among Western diplomats, writes that Tehran is already transferring a scheme for an underground financial activity that will allow Russia to circumvent sanctions. Iran has built a fairly effective system for circumventing sanctions by creating many fictional companies, through which it has the opportunity to transfer money. Iran is motivated to help Russia, because if Russia becomes stronger, if Russia has more resources to kill in Ukraine, including economic resources, in this case the US and other Western partners of Ukraine, who are enemies, or at least enemies of Iran, will have to spend more resources and attention on the war in Ukraine, and they cannot pay so much attention to Iran and the problems of Middle East. Back in summer, according to CNN, Tehran and Moscow were negotiating for Iran to help export Russian oil if the West imposes a full oil embargo, which is expected as early as December 2022. The Tehran will ask the Kremlin for help in developing the Iranian nuclear program, according to US intelligence. From such cooperation, Iran loses more, experts say, because the very idea of complicity in the war is very unpopular in Iranian society and attracts too much attention. Russia, by this cooperation, after its crimes in Ukraine, does not add black colors to itself, and the Iranians, as a result of this ill-conceived, irrational, illogical for them armed agreement, receive a rather strong impetus of attention to themselves. Iran has doubts that Ukraine is losing. This is the first. The use of drones did not lead to a disaster, but led to problems for Iran. The EU and the US will react to this, experts are sure, because even on a country recognized as a state sponsor of terrorism and which is known under sanctions, they can find new levels of pressure. Western countries must change their financial accounting systems, because if we see that Iran can create several thousand fictitious companies and through them launder money and cooperate with European companies, then we need to change our fiscal legislation for the sake of greater opportunities to track Iranian money flows. The EU has previously imposed additional sanctions on 3 officers of the Iranian army, as well as against Shahed, a manufacturer of kamikaze drones. The US has announced tough sanctions, which could include economic restrictions and export controls against third parties helping Tehran and Moscow. Reported by Pavlo Shtelmach, Yulia Bezborodko, UATV News.